Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers with another of our big running shoe guides. Now, when it comes to trail shoes, it's a little bit difficult to say what the best ones are because it's so specific to the type of trail running that the shoes are designed for, as well as what trail runners are using those shoes for as well. So what we've done in this video is each of the Run Testers has picked their favourite trail running shoe and explained the type of running that they do to make that their favourite shoe. And at the end of this video, you can also see a selection of the shoes that we think are the best trail shoes out at the moment, based on the type of running that we do. So if you want to skip straight to that, just click on the thing in the bottom of this video here. So let's jump in and see what each of the Run Testers has picked as their favourite trail running shoe.
Okay, Nick, so you're up. What is your, now this isn't the best trail shoe, this is your favourite trail shoe. So why don't you first start by explaining a little bit about what type of trail running you do?
Yeah, I really struggle with picking this because at different times of year, like sometimes I simply won't be using the shoe, but basically when I care about trail shoes the most is the winter, the UK winter, when it's really muddy. That's when I do a lot of racing in the cross-country season, and my forest where I run a lot of my off-road running in is really boggy. Actually in the summer a lot of the time I can get away with a road shoe or even an all-rounder trail shoe, but so this is the one that really stuck in my mind. It's the Adidas Terrex Pro the Adidas Terrex Speed Pro SG. Some combination of those words will get you there.
It will be up on the screen for anybody who is confused by Nick's explanation.
It's a really lightweight shoe. It's got a really lightweight, breathable upper that drains really well when you are getting it muddy and wet. It's quite easy to clean. As you can tell, it is vaguely clean, and I don't really clean shoes, so it's just a quick squirt of the hose. But it's got these fantastic chevron lugs on the bottom. Now these are 7mm lugs, but they're chevron shaped, so a lot of the time I used to use the Inov-8 shoes, which I really rate, with the 8mm studs, and they're great for all-out mud because they grip superbly well. But actually these are almost as long, but the chevron shape means they're much more comfortable on kind of harder ground, they're less skittish on things, so this becomes much more versatile as a result. So I've raced cross-country in it in all-out mud, no problems at all. I've gone on the road to my forest, I've done kind of long runs with a mix of trails, and actually it's pretty comfortable for everything. There's not much cushioning there, but you don't need much cushioning when you're in like kind of soft ground, which is where I do my trail running. And for example, I'm going away Christmas, going to the Pentland Hills in Scotland. It's going to be kind of fells, but some roads and gravel, and this is a perfect all-rounder winter shoe. And so that really, at the end of the day, that was what I thought mattered to me most. Is the shoes that I care the most about when it comes to trail shoes are the winter ones. And in the summer, there's loads of shoes I love. Yeah, when it came to the shoe I really want, when it matters most, it was this one.
And I can assure you that Nick has been messaging me every day this week saying, I don't know what to choose. I'm going to go for a different shoe every day. So this has taken a while to come through. There's
lots of other shoes I like, definitely, and there's loads of the great trail shoes, but I just thought, when I really, when the chips are down, I'm going to race or run fast or run long on boggy ground, I'm going for this guy.
There you go, there you have it. Thanks a lot.
So I'll tend to kind of split my time between sort of different sort of trails. A large proportion of my training runs are done on kind of forest paths and trails, which are kind of almost like compacted mud. They're fairly well kind of established trails. They're not too steep. There can be some sort of descents, but we're talking a little bit more kind of rolling and gradual sort of gradients rather than sort of big steep kind of mountain descents that you'll get if you go to sort of places like Chamonix for some of the bigger trail races in Europe. And that's also sort of mixed up. Then I'm often running kind of on off-road sections that are along kind of river paths. So it's a similar kind of deal. There's some uneven sort of terrain there, but we're talking about things that are mainly quite hard, quite compacted. It doesn't get too slippy for large proportions of the running that I do. So my runs can also extend from anything from 10Ks right up to much, much longer, where you're talking like day-long adventures out there on those kind of trails. When I flip over into race mode here in the UK, I'll often then sort of be tackling things that are taking in kind of coast paths, that kind of thing, where things can get a little bit more steep and a little bit more technical and a little bit more difficult. And when I'm doing those ultras, they can often take in a real kind of mixture of sort of terrains as well. So you'll often be sort of thrown into villages onto sort of asphalt tarmac for sections. There might be some stuff that's kind of flatter and more compact. There might be some sort of steeper, more rocky, a little bit more kind of slippery stuff. Sometimes you're sort of thrown through fields where it can get a bit soft, it can get a bit muddy. So I do have sort of all of these things when it comes to kind of race shoes, and I'm tending to do my trails sort of in my head. I'm sort of a more of like an ultra trail sort of runner than I am like a short trail runner, but I guess in training I do bits of both. But for that reason, I've chosen a shoe that is possibly, it's a bit of an all-rounder actually. It can cope with, it's a good sort of crossover shoe. And I've chosen the On Cloudultra. So, the clue there is in the name. This is a shoe that will take in those kind of big miles when you're going. They've got not amazing kind of grip underfoot. They've got sort of fairly small lugs. So, you know, when you get into the kind of slippier, deeper sort of mud, they're not going to cope quite as well. You know, not sort of talking cross-country kind of stuff here. But on those kind of trails that I've mentioned, these studs, these grip sort of patterns hold up nice and well. And then when I kick over back onto something that's on road, or where I don't actually want those kind of deep lugs slowing me down, you know, they're not there, so I can be moving fairly quick when things get a little bit more kind of runnable. You've got a closed kind of outsole as well, which is different from other on, so there's no stone catching, and that makes these a much better shoe for doing kind of ultras on places where there's going to be rocks. You might be picking up rocks. I really like the fact that they've got a kind of one-piece upper. It's like a booty fit here, so you sort of slide in, they hold nice, you get a good lockdown fit. And overall, there's good comfort on the uppers for those longer runs. And there's just enough kind of padding around the cushion without making them kind of too overbearing, too heavy. And I find them on the feet quite a light, nimble, agile run for ultras. They've got another trick here, which is they've got a quick release. It's called the flip release toggle, which when, you know, it can basically, you can have your lockdown a bit tighter here. And then if your feet start to expand deeper into those sort of ultra miles as they can do, you can flip this and it just releases a little bit more room here to give you a little bit more kind of, a bit more scope. The one thing I use that for, didn't really feel it in terms of feet swelling, didn't feel it to be that pronounced, but it does help a bit when you're trying to get your shoes on and off, if you're trying to change socks, you've got wet feet at an aid station, those kind of things. Now the ride of these is a little bit firmer, or, you know, I guess it's in line, it's firmer than a road shoe, it's kind of in line with some of those sort of normal trail shoes, but I quite like it. It's got a good kind of, I think it's got a good amount of response, good protection. You know, there's a good kind of bit of protection on the front of the toe there. Overall, kind of the uppers are strong, solid. They feel durable. These are just a set of shoes that I think are nice and easy to run in when you go onto those kind of trails that I run. So there you have it. That's my pick for a good versatile trail shoe that will take you from sort of 10Ks up to ultra and across a reasonable amount of terrain. It's the On Cloudultra.
My favourite trail, normally I hold a shoe by the base, but this is actually super muddy, so I'm going to hold it weirdly. My favourite trail shoe is the Nike Wildhorse 7. I am not much of a trail runner. I've always hated trail running, but I think I was wearing the wrong shoe. I think I've always, because on the road I prefer like a really cushioned shoe, and I think trying to run on a trail in a really cushioned shoe is why I hated trail running, because I always felt like I didn't have enough grip. I always felt like I was kind of couldn't really, like, always felt like I was going to slip. And then I discovered this shoe and I absolutely love it. It's super muddy. I promise you that's mud, not dog poo. And I just love it. Before this one, I do most of my trail running in the Nike Pegasus trail. I think I had the 2, and then I think I've got the 3, which again, it's quite cushioned, but that would have been what I'd go for before this. But for me, this would be what I would do most of my trail miles in. It's probably not the most lightweight, it's probably not the best, but for me it works, and it's breathable. There's enough kind of support and protection around the toe that, you know, you can run over rocks and stuff and not feel like you're hurting your toes. And I also love, which I think is so smart, the kind of, I think they call it a gaiter around the ankle, which does stop like mud and rocks and, you know, the last thing you want to do, isn't it, on like mile 10 on a trail run, is to stop and pull your shoe off and have to kind of touch it when it's all muddy. And it's just smart. It just stops like the road or the weather or whatever getting into your shoe, which is good. And I'd say it's also pretty good because from here, you know, Bushy Park, Richmond Park, any other London-y parks, and I know we haven't just got London watches, but anywhere where you're going to have to do a little bit on concrete, I've done that on this shoe, because I think certain trail shoes you wouldn't want to do any of your miles on concrete because you just wouldn't have it wouldn't be comfortable. So I'd say this is a good kind of, what do they say? Road to trail. No, house to trail, door to trail. This is the kind of shoe that you can, I don't know if I've invented that. If I have, then I'm copywriting it. But this is the kind of shoe you can wear from your house to the trail and not feel like your knees and your ankles and everything hurts when you get to the trail.
So this is not the first time I've raved about these shoes, but with good reason. The New Balance Hierro are my go-to trail shoe. They have been pretty much all year, since I got them about March time, and as you can tell, they have racked up quite a few miles in that. I've done a lot more trail running this year, and these have been perfect for the sort of trails that I run on. So I live in North London, the trails are kind of quite compacted, it's a disused railway line where I tend to run, so it's not massively technical terrain. It's ground that gets a bit muddy sometimes, is a little bit rough, but nothing massively technical, and this is what these trail shoes are really good at. The fresh foam is really nice and comfy in that sole, and they are definitely that kind of door to trail shoe. I can quite happily leave my house, it's a mile to the trail, and on the road and the path, still comfy, not kind of skating around like you sometimes get on a very aggressive and hard trail shoe. They're really comfy, and actually I have gone out when I've been travelling away and only had room for one pair of shoes. I took these because I could do like 5k around the streets and then use them for the trail run the next day. They are very nice round the ankle. They come up kind of a good level, makes you feel like your foot's really secure in there, which is great for particularly on uneven ground. And I tend to favour a support shoe. These are neutral, but I feel that they are a good option for me who wants that kind of extra kind of feeling like my foot's nice and snug in there and nice and secure. They have a kind of slightly hardened bit around the edge of the front of the toe for kind of loose stones and things, not bagging you. Inside, nice and comfy. They've got a free tongue with a bit of a gusset, so not all one piece, so that's nice. That allows you to get nice and snug. And I like the colour. They're nice for a trail shoe, and even though they got a bit muddy, you can still see that bit of is it teal? Peeking out the top there. So it will be a sad day when I have to retire these. That's how much I enjoy running in them, and I guess I'm nervous for next year's update. Please don't change too much about these shoes, New Balance, because I love them just the way they are, to quote Bridget Jones. So the stats, they are £125. They have an 8mm drop. The women's shoe is available in sizes 3 to 11, and a women's shoe is 281 grams. The men's shoe is available in sizes 9.5 to 11.5 and is coming on at 339 grams. Now I know that Tom thinks these are a great shoe, but they're a little bit heavy for him, and you can see that difference in weight between the men's and the women's. It's not insignificant, so I've never gone out and thought, oh, these are feeling quite heavy. Never felt that, so maybe it's that difference. Maybe I'm just stronger than Tom. So I really love this shoe, and I think it's definitely a good option if you do light trail running, nothing too technical, and a mixture of roads and trails.
So I'm actually very blessed to have a lot of trails around where I live. They're very hilly trails, the terrain generally kind of woody, but they're also uncovered, and surfaces kind of range from kind of rocky, kind of stony, kind of there's some gravelly paths there as well, but it's tough terrain, and it can get wet and muddy there and get snowy as well in the kind of colder winter months. Ultimately though, I have to get to those trails, so when I'm looking for a shoe, I'm looking for something that can work well on the road, on the trail, and get me back home. So the shoe I'm picking that kind of fits the profile of trail running that I do is this. This is the Adidas Terrex 2 Ultra Parley, if I remember correctly. Now I'm obviously biased, but I do think this is one of the best looking trail shoes. And that's the reason why I love running in it, but it's not the only reason. This Prime Knit upper I think is really comfortable. It's spacious, I think it works well, and kind of wider feet, even though my feet are quite narrow. You've got this Ultra Boost cushioning in the midsole, which I think makes it nice and bouncy on the road, but also I think those kind of harder trails as well. And then you've got this Continental grip that Adidas uses on its Terrex shoes generally. So you're getting something that's really nice and grippy on those kind of harder trails as well. So for me, this is a shoe. It's not the most protective shoe. It's probably not going to work on the most technical trails, but for the trails that I do, and for getting from on the road to the trail and back, this is the shoe that I go for or reach for first.
The type of trail running I do is in the UK, and it tends to be on lighter trails, but I also do quite a bit on muddy fields because it tends to rain a lot here in the UK. So as a result, I tend to look for trail shoes that are a bit of an all-rounder and tick a lot of boxes, so I don't end up having to change my trail shoes all the time. So the trail shoe that I picked as my favourite, and it's one that I've used quite a lot this year, is the Merrell Moab Flight. So along with running across various surfaces in the UK, I actually took the Merrell Moab Flight over to Croatia for 5 weeks for a variety of different runs, from lighter forest paths all the way up to harder mountain trails that were quite rocky and fairly painful when it came to those inclines. So I was looking for a shoe that was comfortable, cushioned and protected my feet, but I wasn't really that bothered about going fast in them or having something that was lightweight. So the Merrell Moab Flight worked really well for that because it has a lot of cushioning in the midsole. It really protects the feet and just feels really nice and soft and deadens the impact. The upper is really plush and cushioned, so overall it's just a very, very comfortable shoe to wear. It's not a fast shoe, it's quite a chunky shoe, it's fairly heavy, but for me, I'd rather have comfort and cushioning over a lightweight shoe for most of my runs, which is why the Merrell Moab Flight is a shoe that I've worn the most this year for all of my trails. The lugs aren't particularly great for muddy surfaces, they're not that big, so I do use a different shoe when it comes to really muddy fields, but for everything else, the Merrell Moab Flight has been my favourite this year, just for all-rounder options and just comfort and cushioning.
The Salomon Sense Ride 4 is a comfortable trail shoe that handles a range of terrains well. The 4mm lugs on the Contogrip outsole are at their best on harder ground and also solid on the road, but did grip reasonably well on soft ground in our experience, though those spending most of their time in the mud will be better served by other shoes. The Optivibe midsole is comfortable over long distances, and though it's not as speedy and light as some other shoes, the Sense Ride is a good option for longer events on mixed terrain. The upper holds the foot snugly in place with the usual Salomon quick lace system, making it easy to tighten and loosen your laces even when they're caked in mud.
The Hoka Zinal is a trail shoe focused on lighter terrain and shorter distances. The lean design and minimal weight of the shoe means it excels when speed is your main focus, although we have found it lacks the technical features required for more demanding trails. There are, however, still plenty of technical aspects of the shoe that make it more than a bare bones option. That includes a cushioned ProFly midsole, a Vibram Mega Grip outsole, a light mesh upper, a toe bumper for added protection, and a gusseted tongue. It's a great option for warm, dry trails, especially if your main target is getting faster or you're racing.
Peregrine 11 is a shoe that worked well for us on both hard and wetter, muddier trail surfaces and excelled in the latter while offering some extra protection compared to the Peregrine 10. Saucony's Power Run cushioning technology featured in the midsole offers a bouncy ride, while the upper includes a durable top layer with more padding in the heel, collar and tongue to make it a comfortable shoe to eat up off-road miles. The 5mm lugs offer good grip on a mixture of terrain and are easy to clean too, which helps to make this a strong trail shoe option to consider picking up. You can also pick it up in a waterproof GTX and ST options if you want something specifically built for wetter and softer terrain.
A popular option for runners who hit the fells or muddy ground regularly, the Speedcross 5 provides fantastic grip on a range of trails thanks to the 5mm lugs on the outsole. It's a heavier, more cushioned option that can handle long runs on varied terrain, and uses Salomon's quick lace system, which has proved invaluable for us on many occasions when undoing laces caked with mud with cold hands. As a slightly older shoe, the Speedcross 5 is often in sales for well under £100, and it also comes in a Gore-Tex version for £150.
The Flight Series Vectiv is an interesting option, predominantly because it's a rare case of a trail shoe incorporating a full-length carbon plate. The benefits of that are negligible on soft muddy ground, but it excels when it comes to speed and efficiency over hard trails, delivering the same benefits we've come to expect from a carbon plate road shoe. There's a subtle level of cushioning to deaden impact over longer distances, and Kevlar and polyamide materials have been used to increase durability across the shoe. Other features we liked include a reinforced toe cap for protection and a surface control rubber outsole that does a good job at gripping wet surfaces.
The Hoka Speedgoat 5 might be on the way, but the Speedgoat 4 remains a trail shoe that goes big on protection and offers great traction across a range of terrain and is a great fit for technical trails too. While it's heavier than its predecessor, we found them surprisingly light feeling on runs. The EVA foam base midsole offers plenty in the way of cushioning, and the Vibram Mega Grip rubber in the outsole combined with 5mm lugs that are designed in different shapes offer strong traction on dry, rockier routes and wetter ones too. The updated mesh upper offers a nice lockdown feel and protects well against debris. There's regular and wide fit options, which helps to make this an accommodating shoe that's built to withstand whatever the trails throw at you and will hold up for plenty of long distance trail runs.
The Pegasus Trail 3 is a road to trail shoe that excels on the comfort front thanks to the large stack of React foam in the midsole. The outsole is a little bit less impressive, and this is a shoe to keep away from wet rocks and soft ground, but when you are on firmer dry trails it provides a highly enjoyable ride. Given the fact that it is equally at home on the roads as it is light trails, we found the Pegasus Trail 3 to be a handy commuter option for our route, which mixes road and canal towpaths, and it's also a great shoe to take on holiday when you're not sure what kind of terrain you'll be on, something that's helped by the fact it's a real looker, especially in the teal colourway.
If you're looking for a budget trail running shoe that delivers the same benefits you'll get from options that are far more expensive, then look no further than the Soul Shaker 2. It's a shoe that excels when it comes to thick, wet mud, offering deep lugs, a tough, durable outsole and a sturdy ripstop upper. At under £40, it's a bargain and a perfect option for runners that dabble in trail running but don't want to break the bank for a shoe that costs 3 times as much. It may not be the lightest shoe out there, and the upper design can get on the warm side if the weather isn't too bad, but for the price it's a steal.
The Inov-8 G 270 is a trail shoe option that's well built for varied terrain and works well on shorter and long distances. Inov-8 combines its graphene packing outsole with 4mm sized arrow-shaped lugs to offer good stickiness underfoot and work well for us on wetter and harder trail routes. The Powerflow Max midsole foam still offers a nice springy cushion feel with a boomerang insole that keeps things comfortable too. These are zero drop shoes, so they're built to keep your feet close to the ground and create a trail shoe that keeps you light and nimble on your feet with great levels of comfort and durability over longer distances.
The Catamount was one of the first shoes to bring the kind of super foams that have become increasingly popular in road shoes onto the trails, with its midsole being made of Brooks's nitrogen-infused DNA flash foam. This lightweight foam has a responsive, firm feel that makes the Catamount great for fast runs on harder ground, though it might be a little too firm for many runners to take up to ultra distances. It has a ballistic rock shield underfoot and does come in other colours than white, luckily. The sticky rubber outsole grips well on wet and rocky trails, and it's comfortable on the road too, but this is a shoe that's not ideal in the mud, especially if you do get the white version.
The Rubato is a shoe with a lot of cushioning for lighter trails. The soft, squishy Float Pro foam midsole makes running on harder ground an absolute joy and means the shoe excels for runners who tackle routes that cover road, paths and gravel tracks. Although the high stack and shallow lugs do mean that the shoe offers few benefits when used for soft or muddy ground. The comfort of the Rubato extends across the whole shoe with a breathable mesh lining and plenty of inner padding. The outsole provides a good level of grip from wet surfaces as well, and there's plenty of protection from sharp, pointy objects. The shoe also has a 0mm drop, which may be an issue for some runners.
The G210 is the fastest trail shoe for fell running and races on seriously boggy ground we've come across. Despite having an outsole covered in 8mm studs, the shoe is very light on the foot, aided by the featherweight upper which drains rapidly. The G210 has been our go-to pick for the muddiest of cross-country races in the past, and it can also handle sections on hard ground well enough thanks to the durable graphene-enhanced outsole. The current version of the G210 is the V2, which has a more durable upper than the original. That's a welcome upgrade, as we did make some holes in our V1 during a rigorous cross-country season. It's also a great option for mud runs and obstacle course races.
The TrailFly Ultra G 300 Max is a heavily cushioned trail shoe designed to give a high level of comfort and rebound over long distance efforts.
It features Inov-8's graphene-enhanced foam for greater energy return and a graphene grip outsole for traction on tough terrain. It's a great option for those trail runners that want comfort over high mileage efforts and delivers an enjoyable experience on harder trails and even road.
Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell icon. It really does make a difference. And check out the channel for all the other videos we've got from the latest road and trail shoes, as well as headphones and running watches out at the moment. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.